Yo, 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 what's up, Kwanza Global family?
Hello, it's episode 22.
Cool, we back again. Another week of Kwanza Global. So we're gonna be talking about identity.
This week it's about identity, and I'm really excited about that because this topic is really, really interesting and it's really strong. And yeah, so identity? Like, where are we going with that topic?
So identity is.
I know we also
the
talked
way
about.
I would.
I think we talked about a lot. Let's just be specific now, okay? Because now I know we talked about identity a lot, right? Who you are, your purpose, and everything. But this topic specifically is really important because he only focuses on who you are, like who you truly are as a person. How you were. I won't say how you were raised, because that's more like your personality. But like
so how you were created.
how you were
Essentially,
created,
what you were created.
what
so,
you're created for, who you are,
So,
is deeper.
yeah. So it's really. I mean, it's pretty practical. I think that in society that there's people really aren't understanding, who they were created to be. Like like as soon as you're born, and you grow up. You have responsibilities as a man, you have responsibilities as a woman, and to carry that out. But you only will understand that if you're sure of that identity. It's like, as a man, this is who I am as a man. I am a man, and what society says and what's going on around you should not will not change that. That's something that can't change. You know what I mean? That's who you were created to be. God created you, to be a man and affect change as a man. God created you, and brought you through to this world, through your parents to be a woman. That's who you were created to be, to affect change. So we need to understand that and be firm in those two identities as men and as women, and be sure of that, to be firm in that identity, and not there shouldn't be, you know what I mean, we shouldn't let the uncertainty of society and the world affect how affect the truth, affect the reality of it. And is that your identity as a man or identity as a woman is on purpose. It's intentional. It's for a reason, and you need to affect change. And to affect change, you have to understand, like, that you're a man, and as a man, this is how you have to lead your life. You know what I mean? There's a certain way you have to lead your life as a man, and there's a certain way you have to lead your life as a woman. You know what I mean? And because they're, what I mean, they're two distinct things here. As a man, as a woman. You know what I mean? And the way you operate, it changes differently if you don't understand that. You know what I mean? You have to understand. For being a man, you shouldn't be threatened by anyone or anything in this world. And when I say threatened, I mean, like, you shouldn't be questioning, or feel like someone's questioning, you know what I mean, or think that someone's threatening, you know what I mean, your identity, or that your identity is in question, by anything. You know what I mean? If you're sure, you know what I mean, of who you are, as a man, you know what I mean. There's nothing society or anything that's going on should change the fact that you were created and are a man, and the same, and vice versa. That nothing going on should change the fact that you were created and are living as a woman. And that shouldn't, you know what I mean, that shouldn't change. You should be proud and confident, in that identity, in how you were born and created, to be, and live. And it's important. It's important because if you're not firm in that identity, if you don't understand that identity, you will have, you know you'll stumble along the way. Essentially, you'll stumble. You know, being a man, there's things you learn along the way, and being a woman, there's things you learn along the way, and these things again, um, the journey of a man and the journey of a woman are separate journeys at the end of the day, which is why it's so important, to really, uh, embrace, this identity, the identity of being a man or a woman. You know what I mean? You have to embrace that. You were created, as a man, or you were created as a woman, and you were created, for that reason. In that identity for a reason. So we have to operate in that and understand it. Um, to go through life. And really, go through the journey that we're going through. To be firm in that identity. To Because once you start getting confused with that and you start having this crisis, everything else doesn't won't align, because you'll be doing things, based off, a false idea or a false, perception, or a lie that you have to do things a certain way, or you have to behave a certain way, or react a certain way, because of due to the fact that you're not 100% grasping the reality of your identity. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, if you're
Yeah.
not grasping that, for example, you know, this video that I watched, um, and that I was sharing with Grace, and I
Yeah.
explained to, and I shared with some of my friends too. It's like, there was this just YouTube video I came across, and this guy would just he just wanted to see, those YouTube videos where they kind of just want to see people's reaction, and he was just giving people whatever they bought. Like, they bought, like, some people in the store bought some candy, and some of the customers happened to be men, and the guy at the register also at the end of it kind of gave them free flowers. He's like, "Oh, take these flowers," and almost pretty much all the men there were like, they took it as if, he was questioning their manhood, and and they felt like the guy was calling them soft for giving them flowers or whatever. And the guy even went to the stretch to say, he's like, "Yo, just take the flowers and give it to your girl or something. Like, you're drag, like, what's the big deal?" Like, he wasn't coming off in any type of way. He just like, "Yo, take these free flowers, man," or something. And they were just, some people were knocking down stuff in the store, feeling some type of way, like, you know what I mean. And when you look at the video, it's kind of, it's very, it's disheartening. It's kind of concerning, because it's like, why the extremes they were going to show that, that they really felt some type of way. They felt disrespected, because he gave them flowers. But if you're, as a man, and knowing your identity as a man, and knowing who you are as a man, there's no way that that type, in that situation, you should feel disrespected, or your manhood is threatened or being questioned in some type of way, or that you're soft because of that. So, you know what I mean. And how is you accepting those flowers in any capacity, making you any less of a man? You know what I mean. That kind of, just is something as simple as that. It's very, you know what I mean, the lengths that they show, you know what I mean, they went to, and showing their frustration, really showed actually the fragility of, their of them really understanding what being a man is. And being a man, does not mean you denying flowers from another man, and feeling that you're less of a man for that. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. It's deeper. The point is, it's deeper than that. You know what I mean. And it's a thing that will affect us as we go through life if we again don't understand, the our identity, our and it's a our deep sense, our worth, is in our identity. You know what I mean? People will, you know, address us and talk to us, and you know, we associate with one another in a certain way, because of our identity. Believe it or not, um, the way that we identify ourselves as is important. We can't argue that it is important. Um, and as important as it is, we have to be understand the truth of it. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean. As a woman, you know what I mean. You should
Mm-hmm.
not feel conflicted, in the fact that you're a woman and your external should not, you should allow, anything that's going on should not affect the truth of it. You know what I mean? The truth is the truth, no matter what happens. The truth is the truth. Period. So for, you know, when there's an identity issue, the matter of it is you're not really sure of the truth. You're not getting the whole picture. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like it's not really there. You know what I mean? It's almost sometimes you yeah, I mean it's either the truth or it's not. You know what I mean? Or there's a lie there that you're receiving, or that you're getting. Um it's like, you know, if you do so, X, Y, and Z, you're not really, you're not really a man, or you're soft, this, that, and the third. So there's certain things so it's a lie, because that doesn't change whether or not you're a man or not. That you're still a man, and these things are ideas or thoughts that society has implemented, in one way or another, either in a culturally, in certain groups, and certain, in different ways, that have kind of, you know perverted the idea of what a man is. You know what I mean? um we've gotten to a point where, you know what I mean, like you can't even, you know what I mean, a hug could be looked at the wrong way. You know what I mean? Just saying, I love you to one of your best friends could be looked at the wrong way. You know what I mean? So all of these things are perverted, you know what I mean, and made into you. Now, if when if these things, if for some reason you're not careful, you know what I mean, air quotes around careful, you could be looked at in a certain way, and people will try to ID you as, in a certain, look at you in a different light, when it's ridiculous. You know what I mean? Um, you're a man because, you know what I mean, that's who God created you to be. Period. You came into this world, you know.
So pretty much you're
You
trying
know.
to say like pretty much like
Yeah.
don't let others kind of like make you doubt of your identity,
Yeah.
because
You
it's
have to
kind of
be
like
firm
who
in it.
you are. It's just
That's
like
period.
so
There's
it's
no.
like it's the same thing
There's no
has had
question.
it's the same thing on what's it called? People say, oh, because I used to hang around bad people, blah blah blah. That's how it turned out to be. I'm telling you, we all had that one friend. I want to say that one friend. I would say like we all had. We all once was in this type of situation or environment where we were surrounded by different type of people, right? People who that we know how a person, like our own person, wouldn't be able to do that. Like we are not, like I would say, like we are not used to do it. We know that's not how we were raised, so we wouldn't want to do the same things, right? Like So we were kind of like, it's kind of like being an like I would say like an immigrant African parents. What they always say to their kids, it's like you like always remember who you are, where you came from, what you're here for, all these kind of things, right? And I feel like, I mean, I'm only using this example because I feel like it's very much happening in the because we are immigrants, but it very much happens with immigrant parents once they start saying that statement, because they want their kids to remember who they are, meaning like you shouldn't let yourself go that easily just because you're surrounded, because you're it's life, you know, have being surrounded by people that we're not used to, people who are gonna do bad things, people who are gonna try to bring up into doing things we don't want to do, people who would always be like, you're so whack, you're so you're such a loser just because you haven't done these spontaneous things they may think it is, you know. So like you, again, you gotta know who you are, right? You gotta know who you are, you gotta know your like I mean, you gotta be strong in your person, not even personality, because personality gets built up, gets created because of society, right? But who you are is deeper than that. Who you are is deeper than that. It's in your heart, it's how you were brought up, and that's how God made you. Okay? And it's okay to even make, you know, mistakes, but you gotta go back to that root, you gotta go back to who you are, and you gotta and you gotta really know deep down who you are. Is this the kind of thing you want to deal with? Is this how you want to you know, live your life? And it really doesn't matter, no one is judging you, but it's just that you gotta make sure you're doing that for you, and you're doing the right things for you. You know, it really doesn't have to be because it's the wrong thing, because it's the right thing, but you just gotta know who you are in order to move in life.
Yeah.
You know, and it's really about, again, yourself, and nobody's gonna try to make you do things that you know you're not, you know, you're not capable of, you know, of doing, because again, it's all about you.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
right.
It's really about you being, if you're sure of yourself, um, like Grace just said, you're not gonna, like no one can force you to do something that, you know, is against, you know, your values and what you believe in. You know what I mean? And all of that. And that comes again with you know, knowing who you are as a man, as a woman, you know, knowing who you are, the people you surround yourself with, you know, in your actions, in your talk, all of that stuff, you know what I mean? It all boils down and it, you know, aligns with you understanding who you are, you know, who God created you to be, from the jump. As soon as you know, were born, you know, and started breathing, you know, from there, and as you matured, you know, you being firm in your identity is just crucial. It's just crucial, because it affects a lot. It affects your the way the decisions you make. You know, you know, the way you think, everything. So it's not it's really, it's not something to be, you know, played with or dismissed or, you know, taken lightly. It's really really important, you know, especially, you know, you know, in a, you know, in the times we're in, you know, people are very, you know, all over the place, you know, that really assume whatever that they think, you know, that they're feeling, that they, whatever they think, you know, that they want to be, that they, it's like, it's literally what it's like. No, all right, this is not, we're not in a, you know, you know, a fantasy, you know, make believe, you know, whatever you think of is what you are. No, like it, the reality of it is, you know, as men, um, as men, you know, we were created as men, and this is, you know, this is our identity. You know what I mean? You know, as women, we're created. You know, you were created as a woman. that's your identity. And then from there, you that from there, you know what I mean, you there's things that you do, according, from that just basic, from that basic, identification of a man or as a woman. You know what I mean? From those basic, that basic, core, levels of life. As we, obviously mature from boys to men, from boys to men, and
Girls to women.
from a girl to a woman. You know what I mean? This is all part of our identity. This is, it's very straightforward. You know what I mean? And it shouldn't be complicated or misconstrued and or perverted in a way where we're not making we're not going through life actually fulfilling purpose, making this impact, and really letting God's glory really shine through our lives, because we don't even we're not even firm in our identity. We're not even recognizing or acknowledging or accepting who we are from the jump. You know what I mean? Some at some point along the way, we're believing lies of our identities, believing lies that, oh, you are not, you know what I mean, that this is, you don't have to identify as this, or you don't have to identify, you don't have to identify as you know what I mean, you as from growing up or whatever stage, you know what I mean. Oh, they're whatever, because it's various things, you know what I mean, especially in a society that isn't is it's always changing. It's never concrete. It's never even, you know what I mean. There's always, people, that are saying that, one thing the next and the next day, that what they said was the truth is not the truth anymore. You know what I mean? So then what is the truth? You know what I mean? You can't live like that, because then the truth is there's no such thing as the truth. It becomes ambiguous. It becomes forget blurred lines. There's no lines anymore. And then at that point, you know what I mean, in reality, everything becomes, it's a lie. You know what I mean? There has to be, it's either truth or it's a lie. There's no in between there. There's no mixing things up. It's one or the other. And understanding that, oh, you're a man, this is how, based off just that, as a boy, and as you grow up and as you mature into a man, this is how your journey of life are going to be, is going to be, is going to align with that, and this vice versa as a woman, as a girl, as you mature, as a girl that matures into that, as you mature into a woman, you're as you go through life, the things that you do, everything that you do, aligns with that as well. So it's so crucial, that and it becomes scary, becomes dangerous, when society tries to, turn that around, and one day your identity is no longer man or woman, or it becomes a dog, or it becomes a cat all of a sudden. You know what I mean? It sounds funny, but that's literally the what society will have you believe is okay or all right, at any point in stage in your life, for you to all of a sudden just change or you know what I mean, just change, basically change who you are, just change your identity, just change, just because you think it, just because you want to be it, you know what I mean, literally, like just like that, you can just be whatever you wish or believe or feel, and that's what it is. Um, Without any rhyme or reason, without any, you know, there's no, what, you know what I mean? What is the purpose there? What is the reason there? What is the sense of worth? What is the what is, what makes that, you know, something that that can be what takes you through life, and for you to really, you know, not, you know what I mean. I think we're starting to all of a sudden, lose sight of, again, what I just mentioned earlier, the truth of things. You know, why is all of a sudden what you were created to be, not, enough, not, 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 what I mean, who you were created to be. It's like, why is what who you were created to be not who you were created to be? Why is that, a confusion, or all of a sudden a game to be, played with? And it becomes dangerous because now, if all of a sudden you can just change at any, just, at a moment's notice, just because you're feeling like it, you can just change your identity. Then you really, then what is the purpose of anything? Because at any point, you can just, you know just drop everything. You can just be this, be that. You know what I mean? There's no real sense, or reason or purpose, for this type of, you know, way, of going through life, or, of thinking of things. Identity is so crucial. Like, it's it's gotten to a point where, there's a conversation needs to be had around it, as we're having right here. You understanding, again, who you are, sets the table. It sets up for everything else that you're gonna do in your life. You just have to understand and be firm of who you are. You cannot get caught up in the lies and the stories and whatever you want to call it. You cannot get caught up in that. I mean, you just can't. I mean, I don't see how you can chase a dream, go after your purpose, really, create change, impact lives. I mean, we're talking about, really, put, leave a legacy. If you are going through life and at a moment's notice, as a man or as a woman, you can just feel that one day, all right, you no longer, you just want to switch identities, literally, because based off that, logic or that thinking, I mean, what is it? Then, why would it be wrong for you to just? I mean, you essentially, you could just be anyone. Then, I mean, why don't you just get clearance to get in the White House? If one day you think you're your Secret Service, and that's who what you identify yourself as, why you should just be clear to just go into the White House. Or you just one day wake up and you identify as, the president of the United States. You can just go in. I mean, based off that, the logic that's going on, in society now, if it literally as easy as that. It's just something that you think, something that you feel, that you identify as that's what it is. And it, you know what I mean, that's not how, that's not how That's not the truth. Plain and simple. So and there's so many and just little things, within our culture. Again, referencing again, this certain things that are considered, you know, that make you less of a man. If there's certain things that you do or certain things that you say, you know, these are, it becomes very, very, evident that that you're not a man because of, the the fragility, is being shown there. Because if you react in such a, you know absurd way where you almost have to demonstrate that, you don't, you're not gonna accept, someone supposedly or in any way trying to, you know question, in some way someone's trying to threaten or question whether or not you're a man, then you're not as confident as you may think that you are a man. If you're a man, you're a man, period. Like, no one's going to can shake you up on that. That doesn't make sense. That's who you were created to be. They that's it. You know what I mean? That's it. You're a man, period. So for you to be threatened by that doesn't make sense. Vice versa with as a woman. So there's no reason for that. So there's so many things as a society that, or as a society, and within society that, we've now allowed to be commonplace in our minds, and it's become so commonplace, it becomes so accepted, and so we don't want to step on toes, or be seen as judgmental, or seen in some type of way that we literally cannot be straightforward, and truthful with one another. And now it's become to a detriment. It's become, to a fault of our way of living, because you can't even tell someone what they're doing is not, the truth. I mean, we're just talking about truth here. You know what I mean? People want to talk about right, wrong. I mean, what is the truth? What is the truth of what is going on here? And now, if you want to go into, if you don't care about the truth, then be straight up about that. But if you are going to go head to head and start making up your own, version of the truth, then we're getting into territory that you have to come face to face with the fact that you cannot make your own version of the truth. It's either the truth or it's not the truth. It's either the truth or it's a lie. So knowing who you are, your identity, there's only one truth. To knowing who you are, to knowing your identity, there's only one truth. There's only one truth that can be when it comes to this topic, to this, you know what I mean? As a boy, and that matures into a man, that's the truth of it. You were created to be a man. You start off, you're born, you're a baby, you mature, grow into a man, and again, as we mentioned before, you're a girl, you're born, you're a girl, you mature into a woman. It's as simple as day is day and night is night. And there's no doubt about it. There's no questioning it. That's it. That's how, that is the truth of it. Plain and simple. There's no fine line about it. That's how it is. And understanding that is so crucial. Because again, it does affect how we go through life. It affects how we go through life. It affects how we operate, how we go on our life's journey, individually, and how we create impact, how we go after purpose, how we again, um, reach one another. All of these things are connected. You know what I mean? You cannot understate how important, knowing who you are is. You know, what I mean, that ID. Knowing, who you are. That identity is not. It's it shouldn't be taken lightly. Especially where we are right now. It cannot be taken lightly. You have to know who you are, and be 120% about it. You know, there no, without a doubt. Without a there's not a not a sliver, of doubt. About it. No one can threaten you, or question you about it. You know what I mean? That won't change the fact that you're a man. That won't change the fact that you're a woman. That won't change, any of that. And with that confidence, with that assurance, that's the that's one of the that's level one. That's one of the basic steps right there. And going after, going after, your life's journey. As we all go through our life journey individually, and as we, go after who God called us to be, in our lives, in the various, through the various gifts and talents that He's given us. Know yourself. Identify yourself. Know who you are. Without a doubt. Who God created you to be. Walk in it boldly, and without fear or confusion, or and don't believe the lies. At the end of the day, it's only one truth to it. At the end of the day, and again, this episode, was really, it's a conversation that was something that really felt. I just felt it just a topic that just resonated with me. Period. Just not people. There are people who just are not 100%, cannot 100% say or be confident, in who God created them to be, and without a sliver of doubt, without that. And that shouldn't be the case. And that's why a conversation like this I felt was necessary, on this episode, because that should not be the case. You should not go through life, not understanding, who God created you to be, when that's the number one thing that should be clear to you as soon as you're able to grasp, that truth. Once you're able to understand, as soon as you're mature enough to understand the truth of things, and be able to discern things, that's one of the basic things that we need to hold on to. Unfortunately, there, the people are taking, are adopting lies for the truth, or adopting lies and posing as the truth, and are trying to do their best to make that the reality. And that it's not the reality. It's not the truth. No matter how you want to paint it, it cannot be. It cannot hold. Because that's not how God designed it to be. That's not how God made it to be. Plain and simple. That's the truth of it. And that is basic. That is 101 when we're talking about going after you going after your dream, you achieving your purpose, you really going again, that purpose that you have on this earth right now, that vision God is giving you, that way that you're gonna impact, everyone around you, and in your community, your family, the way you're going to move through life, it starts with, you gotta know yourself. You have to understand that God created you, as a man. God created you as a woman, and you need to walk in that, period. That's the truth of it. And with that, you have to believe that. You have to know that, believe that, understand that, recognize that, walk in that in the identity that what that you were born with, that you were given, that was bestowed upon you, from birth, like that. That is what we were called, and need to operate in and walk in, because that that is the truth of it. That is the that is the way we need to operate to really get the best, the fulfillment, of our lives, and that's the truth of it. That is the truth of it. And it's an episode that, again, just felt like it just really resonated, for sure. That's my piece on it. And catch y'all again next week. Kwanza Global.
Kwanza Global, we out. Peace.
Peace, y'all.